In a previous video, I addressed injuries, working around injuries, and the bottom line that if something hurts and something is giving you issues, it means something's wrong, something is broken, and it needs to be fixed. It's not okay to have something hurt in your body when you're exercising. It's always a sign that you're doing something wrong, that you're doing something bad. One of the big contentions with this, of course, is back injuries. One of the reasons why I love bodyweight training is that it is so beneficial to avoiding back injuries. Let's look at the classic methods of back training for most people. On one side of the coin, you have the machine. The machine training, okay, so like we're sitting on a stool of some sort and we're pulling on some sort of like a handle, and there's a big cable and weights, okay? Very, very good for the back to a certain degree, but it's an artificial situation, which means that a lot of times we can strengthen ourselves on these machines. We've got a chest support, we're nice and supported, yeah, we're held down in the lat pull-down machine. It's relatively safe to do it, but what ends up happening is we don't build a lot of functional strength for being able to pick stuff up. And we can get lots of strength, but then when we try and go and move a mattress or so, we end up just twisting or tweaking just the right way, and we get hurt. So inadvertently, machine stuff can still hurt us. Then of course we have the free weight version. And the free weight stuff is very functional, okay? But the problem is, our knee here, our foot here, is free weight styles of back training involve bending over, picking stuff up and everything, and deadlifts, cleans, presses, bent over rows. Again, fine if we know really how to do it, but this sort of thing, it's like, oh, it strengthens the posterior chain, also stresses the mother living hell out of it. The thing with this sort of exercise that my experience and experience watching other people is that this type of exercise is like a siren call, especially for those who are striving to increase the intensity like crazy. I can do deadlifts and cleans and bent over rows and stuff very, very safe, but I gotta keep the weight fairly light. And there's always that little egotistical macho guy in the back of my mind going, you can do just a little more weight, just a little more weight. And the problem is, remember, technique it's not like your technique is good and then it drops off. It erodes over time. So you're like, little more weight, little more weight, little more, little more, little more, little more. And in your mind, you're thinking, yeah, I'm lifting more weight. This is awesome. This is great. I'm going gangbusters. I'm getting so much stronger. Your technique is starting to fall apart. You're not really aware of it. You're back. And I'm talking very small changes here. I'm talking like 1 degree or 1% of weight shift forward versus backwards. 2% more weight on one leg than the other one. Our body has these neurological, habitual ways of moving muscle and using muscle, and the more weight and frequency that we increase, the more our technique erodes and we fall into old movement patterns, which is why we get injured. This is why I love bodyweight training, is because it is literally the best of both without any of the disadvantages. Take, for example, the humble pull-up. Okay, so we have our pull-up bar. Okay, and our hands are here. When we're doing our pull-up, this is our posterior chain, let's say, okay? There is no stress on those joints whatsoever. The pull-up works every single pulling muscle in your entire upper body, from the waist up. But there's no stress on that spine. There's no stress on that pelvis or anything like that. So you get all of the strength benefits, none of the stress on the spine and the soft tissues and everything like that. Another thing that is great with bodyweight training, and this is where people usually don't realize, but most back injuries don't happen because of the back exercise or your back, but what's happening with your legs. Your legs are the reason why your back is under whatever stress in daily life. So if you think, here's your feet, you have your shins, there's your knee, your femur, then you've got this pelvis, and then you've got this spine that's going up. So the forces going through your legs ultimately end up in your pelvis, which ultimately transfer through your spine. The thing that's really kind of funky though is that 9 times out of 10 in real life, these forces are not bilateral, which means they're going on one leg and not necessarily the other leg in the same way, which means your pelvis is going everywhere. I know this is kind of a funky example, but your pelvis is a 3D kind of object. It can tilt forward and back, it can twist, it can tilt side to side, it can do all of these movements. Lots of times when we have back issues, it's because our pelvic control is really not very good. Muscles are too stiff, some of them are too weak, we don't have very good proprioceptive control over our pelvis, so it's going all over the place, and as a result, all of that force is literally taking the muscles in your back and wrenching and twisting and moving and taking your spine and literally wrenching it like this, which is why a lot of people have back issues along their spine when things like knees and ankles and hips and everything get out of alignment. Things like lunges in the Triad Muscle Revolution program, and also if you're advanced enough, pistol squats, literally require that sort of control with those exercises. You can't sit on a leg press or whatever and just fake it. You have to have that sort of pelvic control in order to advance those exercises. There's no easy way out on this sort of thing. So that's again why bodyweight training is very important towards your back health, is because it fosters the strength, power, and control of your lower body, which is required for a healthy back. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show you one of the greatest exercises for a healthy back that you can't hardly do with any free weight or machine exercise, but you can do with bodyweight training. See you guys then. Thoughts down below. Till then, be fit, live free.